Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, I'm Serein and this is More Serein, my lifestyle and motherhood channel. I thought it'd be fun to sit down and watch my original What's in My Hospital Bag video and react to it. So in preparation for labor and delivery, I watched a ton of these What's in My Hospital Bag videos and reaction videos to know what I should pack for my first labor and delivery experience for my first baby. And I also read a lot of blog posts. I did end up probably overpacking. I am happy I overpacked because I think it's important for your first experience to just be comfortable and feel like you have everything you might need. So I wanted to sit down and react to it to share with you guys what I actually ended up using and what I feel like I could have left at home. I think it might provide good insight for you if you are planning for your own labor and delivery, or if you just like watching these types of videos and seeing what an overpacker really ended up using at the hospital. So a couple things to keep in mind. I did have a labor and delivery at the hospital. I also delivered at the end of 2020, which means there were still COVID-19 restrictions at the hospital, and I wanted to overpack just in case because I knew we weren't going to be allowed to have visitors and we weren't really going to be able to leave the hospital to go pick things up. We also delivered at a hospital that was a little bit further away from where we live. It felt like I packed the entire apartment, and it was a little embarrassing to show up to the hospital with a giant suitcase and bag, but in hindsight, I'm glad I had what I had, and looking back, if I were to do it again, these are the things I would probably need as I share with you guys through the video. 2, I did have a very long labor. I labored at home and then I labored for quite some time at the hospital. The hospital was really great. My doctor and nurses were amazing. They listened to my birth preferences and were really respectful of that. I did end up with an emergency C-section at the end of 46 hours. So while I had a very great experience that was also aligned with a lot of trauma, I am recovering quite well. I'm 9 weeks postpartum as I sit down to film this, and I do have my birth vlog, which you can watch here in the cards. I'll also link it in the description box. And I do have my sit down birth story, which I will link in the cards as well as in the description box if you're curious about what happened. Because I do think what you're going to need in your hospital bag or your labor and delivery bag will depend on whether or not you choose to go to a birth center or the hospital to deliver your baby, as well as what kind of delivery you end up with. So I was mentally, physically, and with all intents and purposes prepping for a vaginal delivery. There were no signs of me having to have a C-section up until that last hour of my labor. I had no risks throughout my entire pregnancy. I was very healthy. So there's no reason for me to anticipate needing a C-section. And usually most women don't, it just happens. So this might be one of those situations where I would also prep for a C-section even though you're most likely not gonna have one. This video is quite long. I'll skip through some of the things, but let's just get started. I've got my video queued up here on this iPad and let's just get started. Thank you for watching. I'm 8 months pregnant. I'm also really, really hot. It's so funny to watch me in this video because it's one of the first videos I actually sat in our nursery to film, and I feel like I'm a whole different person, even though I was 8 months pregnant and this was only a couple months ago, but I feel like I was a whole different person. The first thing I have that's kind of bulky is a pillow. This is not something I think everybody needs. So here's the thing, I brought the pillow, it's really bulky and it takes up a lot of space, and I didn't actually use it. Every hospital bag video I saw said that they brought a pillow and that they absolutely recommend this pillow. So I brought a pillow to feel comfortable, to think, oh, it's like a pillow I'll have with me that's from home. I didn't even use it. I didn't even want to use it. I was sweaty. I was in pain. I just didn't need it. The hospital I was at provided me all the pillows I could possibly want need or use. And I had no issues asking for more pillows to feel comfortable. In fact, labor and delivery was more than happy to bring me extra pillows. My doula was also there to be like, we need more pillows. My husband was able to ask for more pillows. And even in postpartum, I was able to ask for more pillows. So while a lot of people talk about this, I don't really feel like it's necessary, and it takes up so much space. Now, if it wasn't such a whirlwind and I wasn't so exhausted and I went in knowing I was going to have a C-section, maybe I would say bring the pillow. But I was laboring naturally for most of it, and then I did get an epidural. I still didn't need my pillow, and I was at the hospital a while. So if you are not super particular, even though I am very particular with my pillows, I don't think you need it. It's not something that's necessary. The hospital will provide you with plenty if you want it. So that was something I'm like, oh, I should not have brought that. It is definitely something I see very, very common, are a lot more fluffier than the ones at the hospital, which can be very thin. Okay, so the next item I shared is a blanket, and this is something that I highly do recommend. It is cold in the hospital, and the blanket just made me feel more comfortable. We brought 2 blankets. I actually brought one for myself and one for Chris. So in the hospital video, in this original video, I did not pack 2 blankets. I only packed one for myself, and then everybody commented and DM'd me and said, bring another one for Chris. So I did, and he was so grateful because he was freezing. And they do have blankets, but they're really thin, and you can ask for extras, but it's just not the same as having something really fluffy and comforting and cozy and soft. So I do recommend bringing your own blanket for yourself and for your partner and anybody that's going to be at the hospital with you. That was such a huge lifesaver, and used from the second I got to the hospital from both of us. So bring blankets too. When it comes to clothing, I feel like I might be a little bit scattered and probably am missing something or overpacking on some stuff. So I most likely will deliver in the hospital gown, but once I deliver, I probably will put this on. Okay, so this Frida gown. First, it was way too big for me. It's a one size fits all, but it was just huge on me. I did labor and deliver in whatever the hospital had for me, which is their hospital gown. I didn't care. And after I had my surgery, I felt better in the hospital gown. The hospital gown was just the easiest thing for me. I didn't leave my hospital room because of COVID. The only time I did was to kind of walk around a couple of times around the hospital floor because I needed to show them I could walk to be released. While that gown was really comfortable, I probably could have left it at home and changed into it when I got home, because when you get home, you definitely want something easy and comfortable to nurse, to change your diaper and your pads, and for me, I had a incision I had to take care of. So it was just easier to not bring clothes, honestly. None of the clothes that I brought for the hospital did I end up wearing. I didn't use the robe. I didn't use the gown that I brought, which I'm showing here, and I didn't wear anything of mine again until I was leaving the hospital. I have some jogger sweats that I picked up. So I'm talking about these jogger sweats, and I bought them in a size up, and nothing was loose on me. And after laboring for so long and then having the C-section, I was really, really swollen. I guess I did pack loose clothing, but I probably should have found even looser clothing. I really should have just brought a muumuu. Nothing fit. My shoes didn't fit, nothing. Nursing cami, didn't need it. Didn't use it. I have 2 larger nursing bras I'm bringing. This is a Bravado Designs nursing bra. This is actually a little too big for me. So the nursing bras were probably something I would recommend you bring with you. I just ended up wearing whatever bra I showed up to the hospital to the entire time. And I took it off when they were putting the epidural in me towards the end, and then I didn't wear a bra again. Bring a couple, just because I think that's something you might want to have, especially if you're staying at the hospital longer and you want to be nursing and still feel a little more secure. I just was like, whatevs. Everything was out at that point for me. Short pajamas. So I'm showing you guys here that I'm bringing pajamas as well, and no, didn't need it, just stayed in my hospital gown. This is from Cozy Earth, made out of bamboo. I love bamboo fabric but I do love these pajamas for when I got home from the hospital. They were super, super cozy, soft, and comfortable, and I like that it was a two-piece. I basically recommend wearing stuff that's like really easy to just pull on and off, or just a night dress or a night shirt. And I'm bringing 2 pairs of underwear. I don't think I'm gonna need it because these, the pairs of underwear that I'm showing you guys ended up being my favorite underwear for postpartum, but I did not need it because I was wearing whatever the hospital gave me, which was the mesh underwear with the pads, and that was the most comfortable thing for me postpartum immediately after delivery because of my incision. So I had brought adult diapers, and I had every intention of wearing the adult diapers because it's just easier. It's just one thing versus the nylon underwear and then the gigantic pad. Because of my incision, the adult diapers would land right where my incision was, and it was really uncomfortable. So the nylon underwear that the hospital gave me was the most comfortable thing for the first week, and it didn't irritate the incision. It wasn't the easiest, like trying to finagle the pad on there, but very quickly I switched from the nylon underwear to the underwear I'm showing you here. So I would say always bring underwear. I'm the type that's like, even if you're gonna just be out all day, bring an extra pair of underwear just to feel fresh, but most likely the hospital will have whatever you need, even if it's not your favorite. Everyone says bring your own slippers and or cozy socks, so I'm bringing, yes, the slippers, yes, 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 and cozy socks, yes, yes, yes. I labored in my cozy socks the entire time, and then they took my socks off for surgery, and then after surgery they put them back on. And then when I was trying to get up and walk around with Lillian and just move around the hospital room, it was my slippers. And you want to make sure your slippers are not only cozy, but there's like a thicker sole. The hospital floor is concrete and linoleum, so it's very hard, it's very cold. And I did bring disposable slippers for Chris, and he was just like, those killed my feet because the floor was so hard and cold that it just went right through those slippers, and he wished that he or I had brought him thicker slippers. Make sure the sole of your slippers are rubber, and make sure they're quite thicker. And I have these ones that I found on Amazon, so I would say bring them for you and your partner, because your partner's going to be on their feet a lot more. Especially if you had a C-section, they're going to be the ones getting the baby and bringing the baby to you, to your bed, and just moving around and grabbing things for you, and they're on their feet a lot. So cozy slippers for everybody involved, very, very important. I am also bringing some flip-flops in case I want to take a shower or in case I want to get under the shower. I am confident that they clean the hospital. So the flip-flops were a good idea if you plan on taking a shower. I was given a like sponge shower after surgery the next day, and so the nurse kind of had me sit on the toilet and helped rinse me off and dry me off. So I didn't really need to wear the flip-flops because I wasn't as mobile after a C-section. But I think it's important to have it also because my shoes didn't fit. The shoes I wore to the hospital, which were white Adidas sneakers, I was so swollen that they didn't really fit. So the flip-flops came in handy in that situation, even though it kind of froze my feet off because I delivered in December. Flip-flops, I mean, worst case scenario, you take the shower without the flip-flops. They clean the bathrooms, it's not that bad. Or you can put a towel down and shower over the towel. This is like such a small thing, it's really up to you. I think I'm happy that I brought it with me, but I would have been okay without it. Amazing things about belly bands, and I wanted to make sure I had one with me so that if I had any questions about it with my doctor or my doula, I can ask. So belly bands, I am a huge fan of belly bands. However, the one I'm showing in this video did not fit me after labor because I was so swollen. My doctor recommends belly bands, and even more so if you have a C-section. I felt so weird and loose and just jiggly, and like it felt like my insides were going to spill out of me. So a belly band is really, really, really amazing for that. It just held me together. It made me feel more whole again. Unfortunately, mine didn't fit. So I had to wait a couple of days after I got home and order the correct one. If you're curious, I talk about specifics about belly bands, how to order them, which ones I recommend for immediately after delivery and immediately after a C-section, and which ones I recommend a few weeks later, and which ones I recommend if you're only going to be able to afford one, and how to kind of finagle the sizing to make it last as long as possible. And I talk about that in my postpartum recovery must-haves video, which I will link in the cards right now, as well as in the description box. But belly bands, definitely a must. Just watch that video in that section where I talk about sizing and which one to bring to the hospital. Keeps everything nice and cold. It will prevent me from having to ask for my Hydro Flask. I brought my Hydro Flask and I didn't use it because my hospital actually gives me a jug with a straw and a lid. Now, the reason I brought my Hydro Flask was because all the other What's in My Hospital Bag videos, everybody said to bring a Hydro Flask or a large water bottle with a straw so that you didn't have to keep pouring the water or asking for water. And I don't know if it's because I was laboring during COVID that they just gave me this giant jug with a giant straw and a lid, but my hospital gave me a giant thing of water to drink out of and gave everybody that asked for the water. So my husband had his own, I had my own, my doula had one. And they were really great about making sure I constantly had water and that it came with a straw and a lid. If I labored at the same hospital again, I probably wouldn't bring a water bottle. I'm putting one in my hospital bag so I don't forget it because I need my personal fan right now. So I'm talking about my personal fan. And it's hilarious because I was so overheated my entire pregnancy that I lived with these stroller fans. And I was so worried about being sweaty and hot that I brought both of my fans. And one of my friends who has had multiple children, she's like, the one thing I need during labor is this personal fan. So I was like, oh, okay, she's a pro at this, so I'm gonna bring my fans. Didn't even pull it out of the bag because I was cold. I was freezing the entire time. Now, if I were to do this again, I don't know, because I think every pregnancy is different for every woman and everybody is different, and every labor and delivery is going to be different. So I would say I would still bring my fan just in case, but I wouldn't bring both. Milky's Happy Moms Healthy Babies, it's a catcher. So this was highly recommended by a few channels. So the Milky's milk catcher. I think it's more necessary to have this if you're having a second or third baby, because my milk didn't come in for 4 days. And most women's, especially their first babies, their milk doesn't come in for the first few days. What does come in is the colostrum, and that's like a thicker consistency. I'm not really dripping that. And I would prefer my Haka because my Haka suctions to my boob. As we know, I did not really wear a bra after delivery, so the Milky's was kind of like just in the way if I needed it. I do recommend just bringing a Haka pump. It's a hand silicone pump. It's like the best thing ever. I ended up buying another one so that I had two at any given time. So if you're worried about leaking or if you want something to do to catch, I recommend the Haka just because it's hands-free. We're going to have two of these, one's for Chris, one's for me. I already attached the Okay, so extra long charging cords for your phones. Yes. Extra long, so important because you don't know where the plug's going to be. I ordered these cords specifically for being at the hospital, and they've come in handy ever since. And I brought two because one for Chris, one for myself. You definitely want to make sure you have plenty of juice for your phones. I didn't end up using my phone the entire time I was at the hospital because I was busy laboring, and then I was like trying to recover from the C-section and being so overwhelmed with everything that happened and then having my baby. It was just a lot. So I wasn't somebody that was on my phone, and I'm normally on my phone. So I didn't really need to charge my phone at all because My phone kind of just stayed in my purse the entire time, but it was important to have it for Chris because he was the one communicating with everybody. He was the one taking photos, and he needed to be on his phone. iPad charger, because it's a different kind of charger. So I brought my extra long iPad charger. I brought my iPad, didn't pull out my iPad a single time, and did not pull out that charger because the entire time I was laboring and I was focused on that. My labor, I didn't have a break in between contractions. It was really painful the entire time because I also had back labor. And then once I did get the epidural, I got it at night to sleep so that I could get some rest from my contractions with the idea that I was going to start pushing the next morning. So I didn't really need entertainment because I didn't really have time to enjoy entertainment. Once I had my C-section and I had Lillian, we were so consumed with trying to recover, me trying to figure out how to recover and breastfeed and be with Lillian, that once again, I didn't even turn on the TV in the hospital. I didn't pull out my iPad. I didn't even pull out my phone. So it's, for us, we didn't need entertainment. If I were to do this again, I wouldn't labor. I would go in for a C-section. I would recommend bring something just in case, but you're not gonna have time, in my experience, to really sit back and like watch Netflix. It's really, I think, up to your experience, and you don't want to be totally bored, but the hospital does have a TV. Rituals, I've been taking this for years. My doctor actually recommended. I brought my prenatal vitamins, but I was told not to take it once I got to the hospital. So maybe talk to your doctor if you should bring your supplements with you, because I brought mine and they told me to stop taking it, and I was actually told not to take it for a couple weeks after I came home. Then it was recommended to bring a nipple butter, so I'm bringing the Earth Mama organic nipple butter. If you guys have a nipple butter, yes, bring your nipple butter, because if you start working on latching, which you should be told to do if you plan on breastfeeding almost immediately after delivery, and I just applied the nipple butter every time we were done practicing breastfeeding or latching, just in case, and I didn't end up having a lot of soreness or cracking or anything like that, probably because I was just proactive with applying the nipple butter. I have a little loofah in case I want to shower, because I love being able to scrub myself, and because I had a C-section and I had surgery, I wasn't allowed to scrub myself. I had assistants, and they used the hospital towels and washcloths, so not necessary. The hospital will have towels for you if you wanted to scrub, but I wasn't able to take advantage of showering myself. I think it really is up to you. You actually get a lot of cramping when you breastfeed after labor. Recommended to try the After Ease for pregnancy. It's a natural herbal supplement that can help ease some of the cramping. I didn't like it, I didn't enjoy it, and I didn't think it worked. I think what really helped me was having my heat pad. That really soothed any cramping and any pain. The After Ease was very herbally, and I'm someone who has no issues drinking herbally things. I just wasn't a big fan of it, and I didn't think that it was worth having this extra thing with me. Some people swear by it, some people love it. I don't recommend it. Heating pad for when you are breastfeeding after. I didn't use my heat pad while I was in the hospital because they had heat packs for during labor, and it was a little easier because I could just like strap them to me and walk around. After delivery, I didn't have a lot of cramping because I was on a lot of pain medication still. So I didn't notice the cramping at the hospital. I noticed it when I got home. I did bring my heating pad with me, and I probably would still bring my heating pad with me just because I love my heat pad. I didn't use it this last time, but thinking about it, I might use it, and it's something that is not going to take up a ton of room in my suitcase or my bag. So recommend the heat pad no matter what. Might not need it at the hospital, but definitely will need it when you get home. Provides you with mesh underwear and large pads, witch hazel kind of cooling, soothing thing that they put in the pads. And a lot of people love that and say to take a bunch of it home with you. And then a lot of people hate it and say that they love their Depends. I've never had a baby, so I'm gonna bring a couple pairs of Depends just in case I don't. I didn't end up using the adult underwear for a couple days because the incision was being irritated by the diapers. But then I tried using it like a couple days later. It was fine. Honestly, because I had the C-section, I didn't have a lot of bleeding. I didn't have a chance to start pushing either, so I didn't have a lot of recovery in the vaginal area. I didn't have stitches, I didn't have any tearing, and I was cleaned out during my C-section. So I did have bleeding, but it wasn't so much so that I needed to wear the adult diapers. It was easier for me to wear the mesh underwear until my incision was less tender, and then I switched over to postpartum underwear and large pads. 2 large 1-gallon Ziploc bags with our name on it for my placenta. And this is, so I wasn't allowed to take my placenta with me. We had coordinated with this woman to take my placenta, pick it up, and encapsulate it. I wasn't given my placenta, so unfortunately the cooler and the Ziploc bags were just not needed. But if you are planning to have your placenta encapsulated and you're coordinating that with an encapsulation person, then you definitely want to bring the cooler and the bags. Moving forward, if I did this again, I probably wouldn't even bother with the encapsulation and not bring this. And then going back to the adult diapers, the hospital is going to have everything you possibly need. Now, is it going to be the most comfortable thing? Probably not in a lot of situations, but you're going to be okay if you showed up to the hospital with absolutely nothing other than your ID and your insurance card. It's not going to be the most comfortable experience, but you will be okay. The hospital will provide everything you need to get you through your stay, and then you can go home and have all of these comforts. A vlog camera and not worry about. So I did bring my vlog camera and we did vlog a little bit, but because everything was moving so fast and we were so busy with everything that was going on, I didn't really have a chance to vlog, and Chris really wasn't in the mindset to want to document. He was having his own trauma and his own experience and wanting to be there for me, which meant that he didn't really have a time to pick up the camera and vlog what was going on. So I didn't need all these extra batteries and things like that. However, if we're doing it again, I do want to bring all this still, because you just never know when you want to capture something. And even though we had our phones, you just never know. And I'm really happy we do have the footage that we did get for my birth vlog. And I am happy we have the photos that we ended up taking with, or he ended up taking on his phone. So I think it's never a bad idea to bring things to document your experience. Whether or not you end up using it as much as you hoped for is a whole different story. I have a disposable toothbrush. I have my toothpaste. So I brought a lot of toiletries. I do recommend bringing a toothbrush, your floss, your toothpaste, a face wash, or in my situation, I ended up using the makeup wipes more and a moisturizer. You don't need the serums, you don't need anything fancy, and I didn't bring too much fancy stuff, and everything was like travel size. So you're not gonna have time to do a full skincare routine, but definitely bring a face wash that works well with your skin and a very hydrating moisturizer for your face. Really, really hydrating. Yes, bring your lip balm, bring extra lip balm. Snacks. I don't know what I'm gonna want to eat in that moment. Okay, so the snacks. I had no appetite. The second my contractions started at home, I knew I needed to eat, and I tried. I just had no appetite. But the snacks are so important for your partner as well, because Chris ended up eating everything that I brought snack-wise, and he did try to save me some, but I told him to just eat it because I was not hungry. He was hungry and he didn't want to leave the hospital room to go to the cafeteria and get food very often. I would tell him to at least get like a hot meal, but he said it wasn't worth it. He did go down a couple times to try and get something to eat, but he was just like, the food's not that great. It wasn't worth being away from you, and it wasn't the easiest thing for him. He did not get to really properly eat. And luckily I had so many snacks that he was able to kind of sustain himself. Also, because of the whole situation, we couldn't have people come visit us and bring us food. We did a lot of Postmates and Grubhub after I delivered. However, it was really like not the best situation because it was kind of like by the time we got the food, it was cold. They forgot to bring us stuff a couple times. We didn't have a great experience with food delivery at the hospital. It was also always kind of like hard to coordinate too because there was a special place, and then Chris would have to go and try and get the food, and then the cafeteria food and the in-room dining food was just awful. It was so bad that I remember, like, because I am a nutritionist, I was like, who came up with this menu? This is so bad for sustaining somebody after surgery for recovery and to try and get me to get a milk supply to breastfeed. The food that they offer in your hospital room, at least my experience, was not conducive to recovery or breastfeeding. Bring food, bring your own food, especially things that you know that you enjoy and need or want. I still had no appetite after I delivered, but I knew I had to eat something to kind of sustain me and to recover. But it was just really disappointing to see that the hospital food was just not conducive to recovery at all for anybody. And I think that's kind of typical. However, I also know certain hospitals have better food. It is what it is. And that's why snacks are so important. I didn't eat any of the snacks, but they're still really important. And if I was in a better headspace, I probably would have ate my snacks, or I would have made better choices. I think in the future, I would try and coordinate with a couple friends of like bringing me things that I either pre-froze or prepped, and they can just heat it up and bring it to me, hopefully. I did have fridges in both of my hospital rooms, so I might have considered bringing like frozen things and trying to figure out a way to heat it up. That might be something I plan on for the next time, if there is a next time. Gift basket for the nurses. I have some oat milk coffee, and then I made a gift basket for the nurses, and they really appreciated it. So the coffees, they love the coffees, they love the hand creams and the lip balms and the snacks. It was like gone within seconds. The only thing is I wish I had brought 2 or 3 baskets, because I feel like I didn't know I was gonna be at the hospital this long, but with each shift of nurses, like the second and third shift of nurses didn't get anything. So if you do gift baskets, bring multiples for different shifts, and keep the ones that aren't for that shift with you until the new shift, and then you can give it to them. And I wish I also brought postpartum gifts for my postpartum stay. So this is actually from my family at Dermae. They sent this cute, so I brought this little unicorn cute thing to take like this beautiful photo of Lillian at the hospital. I had a vision of having her in a couple different outfits. Okay, none of that happened. We didn't take any photos of her in any of her clothes. She was in a diaper and swaddled the entire time we were in the hospital. I was not in the right frame of mind to want to take a photo of Lillian all dressed up and cute. I, to be completely honest, had really severe baby blues, probably the beginning of postpartum depression. I did not connect with her. I obviously love her, and I saw her and I fell in love with her, but I also was very traumatized by her and felt like she was this stranger and we weren't getting along very well. There's just a lot of weird stuff going on with me, and I didn't want to take photos of her. So I didn't use any of the outfits, and then the outfits that I brought her to shoot photos in, they weren't appropriate to take her home from the hospital in, so she never even touched those. A lot of things didn't fit her. The hospital had clothes for her, but they didn't fit her because she was quite a large baby girl. Would I bring clothes to shoot photos of my next baby if I have another baby? Yes. Am I upset that I brought these? No, absolutely not, because who could know that I was going to be like that, and that my experience of having her was going to be so strange and traumatic and weird. If anything, I would say I needed to bring her Magnetic Me onesies, because those would have been a lot easier for us to change her in, and a lot easier for us to put her in, and a lot easier for us to take her home in. I had no experience with a newborn, so bring magnetic me onesies. I brought one long sleeve and long pant onesie. Yeah, so that onesie I brought to take her home in, like, we never even put her in it, and then, like, I don't know what happened when we were leaving the hospital, like, I couldn't find it. I couldn't put her in it. It was really bizarre and weird. It was a strange, like, we were being released early from the hospital because I really wanted to be released early. And my doctor okayed it because I was kind of having a meltdown that when I heard that they were expecting to keep me at least another day, I wanted to leave. And it was kind of unheard of for them to release me as early as I was being released after a C-section, but I had to come home. I just wanted to come home. And so I think when I got the okay, I was just in such a rush to come home and to get out of the hospital that we couldn't find this one Target onesie that was the zipper that would have fit her because she wore it for a while after we got home. Yeah, I have no idea where this thing was when I was trying to get her out of the hospital. And then this is also from my friends at Dermae, so I thought I'd bring that. Your newborn baby is not going to need any toys. She didn't need anything. The hospital had everything she needed. And then the swaddle was nice. I kept it in the car and I had it to cover her. But the car seat also has a cover, so she sent this to us for our baby, so I thought it would be a good idea just to have this. That's gonna be, oh my god, this is the baby shusher, and Madison Miller sent it to us as part of our baby shower gift, and this baby shusher is a miracle. It's a lifesaver. I didn't register for it, and Madison, thank you so much. She just sent it to us, and I brought it with us to the hospital because it was smaller than our sound machine and it didn't need to be plugged in. So I was like, oh, let me just bring this. We used this thing the second Lillian arrived into this world and was left alone with us because we could not get her to stop crying. And this was the only thing that would calm her down. We had it on, I think, 24/7 the first few days because it would soothe her and it would calm her down. Baby shusher, everybody needs this baby shusher. It's like random and it's weird, but it's so necessary. We still use it to help soothe her for nap times. Thank you, Madison. Thank you. I am going to throw in 2 old towels. A lot of people say that the hospital towels are really... Do you need to bring your own towels? Absolutely not. I know a lot of people do bring their own towels, and I brought 2 older towels that I was going to use and then leave at the hospital or throw away. No, I didn't need to do that because the hospital had plenty of towels. They're really thin. They're not the softest, but they get the job done, and looking back on it, I didn't need the towels. I didn't use the towels, so I wouldn't bring it again. A lot of things I didn't end up using, but a lot of things I was really grateful that I had. I would say, you know, just make sure you have clothes to come home in, make sure the baby has an outfit to come home in, maybe one cute outfit for taking at the hospital, but we were so overwhelmed and I was going through so much trauma and so many emotions that I was a shell of myself, that all of these comfortable things that would have normally made me feel better were unnecessary because I didn't have the wherewithal to need or want it. When I tell you I was a shell of myself, that's the best way I could describe my state of mind. And I was constantly crying over everything. I was upset, I was angry, I was scared. I felt guilt. There's a lot going on. And looking back on it, I would say it's something that you cannot possibly even imagine or prepare for unless you've gone through it some way on your own. And even then, everyone's experience is different. But if I was to do it all over again with the knowledge that I have now, I would say all you really need is something to come home in, the slippers for you and your partner, lots of snacks, lots of support when you get home, and an outfit for the baby to come home in. Like, those are the main things I would say you want to bring with you. The hospital will have everything that you need. This is just what will make your stay the most comfortable. And I labored without any medication for a really long time, and I didn't have time to be comfortable, if that makes sense. My doula scratching my scalp was like the best thing ever, and the birth ball, but the hospital had the birth ball. Those were like really the only things I cared about while I was in labor. So I hope this video was insightful, maybe helpful and funny at times, hopefully. I don't know, hopefully it was entertaining and helpful. As always, thank you so much for watching my video and for staying till the end. I am going to try to upload every Wednesday and Saturdays here on this channel. I do weekly vlogs, and then I also will be doing kind of like very new motherhood types of videos for a while. The next video I have planned is newborn must-haves, and then if there's any video suggestions, let me know in the comments. I also would love to see you guys over on Instagram. I love DMing with you. I love sharing my daily life with you guys. I love making reels. And then if you like beauty content, all of my beauty videos are over on my main channel, Serein Woo, linked in the description box. So I hope to see you guys back here every Wednesday and Saturdays for new videos. Until next time, have a beautiful, wonderful rest of your day. Bye!